To the rice fields, mother...
This is the after-action report for the old 18 Defense Stillwaters rival event, a cross-country two-gun biathlon shooting competition. OED events are typically 2 days, with the main event on Saturday and the Fun Day short course on Sunday, aka the Rivals event. This was the Sunday Fun Day short course that ended up being 6 miles with 5 shooting stages. There are no resupply points. Competitors have to carry everything with them along the way to complete all of the stages. The AO is located in the Stillwaters Ranch in the Granite Hills of Llano, Texas. This was the 4th time that OED has hosted an event at the Stillwaters Ranch. Each time they have managed to increase the difficulty and pave an entirely new course path with new shooting stages. This year, they really outdid themselves on the course difficulty, which managed to squeeze in 3 deep water crossings and more than half a mile's worth of slippery creek traversal in waist-high grass. OED does not reveal much about what to expect on their course. There are no stage previews, no course of fire walkthroughs, nor do ROs reveal the target distances. Their courses are entirely blind, the way it should be. OED does, however, sometimes publish a very vague course length, which is sometimes considered counterintelligence. It's not always true. However, having been to this AO 4 times in a row now, I did anticipate a few water crossings, as that has become standard at this event. So I did wear some silkies. I did not, however, anticipate jungle bushwhacking my way up a creek for about half a mile. Mistakes were definitely made.
And he's right, mistakes were made. And I'm frankly not happy about it.
The course did eventually level out a bit. That sent shooters down dirt roads and then up and down several pretty significant hill climbs, which were about a 40% grade. They did finally get me. I took a bit of a tumble on the backside of the course as I roller skated my way down the hill. Course did finish off with a pretty serious 40-yard-ish swim across the deepest part of the spring-fed pond. This was a pure swim. You could not touch the bottom at all during this crossing. It was at least 7 feet or more deep. This was at the end of the course, about 50 yards or so from the actual finish. So I was, mostly out of ammo. It was pretty much the lightest I was going to be, but I was still in tow of about 30 pounds of ammo. Rifle, pistol, everything else that's still kind of left over. So speaking of equipment, let's go ahead and jump into a quick loadout breakdown of what I carried on this course. This is pretty much becoming my standard loadout for these events now. The pack plus the chest rig combo is a very comfortable combo, especially when you're carrying weight, carrying about 360-ish rounds on this pack, plus food, medical, water, and it holds load very well. And typically, you don't need more than 3 magazines for a particular stage. I've never gone over that. On average, I'm going through maybe 1 magazine per stage, rifle mag. Now, for the pistol, I do still carry 3 magazines at the ready. I got 2 on the hip, 1 in the gun. So diving into the pack and chest rig combo here, I actually attached this chest rig directly to the pack. This is a far more comfortable setup than running a pack over a harness. The chest rig itself is still very stable. I do use the back strap still to keep it nice and level. In a full sprint, it's not flopping around or anything, and the comfort level is well worth any sort of downsides that you might be able to pick apart with this. On the right side of the pack here in the water bottle holder, I did carry my IFAK. This backpack sits a little too low for me to keep my IFAK on my belt, so I just kind of shoved it in here in the side. On the other side, I carry, I am an RX prescription lens user, so carried extra ones there. In the back pocket, I did carry a contractor's bag. This is a 50-gallon contractor's bag, and I use this for the actual swim. I just shoved all of my stuff in there, filled it full of air, tied it off, and then just floated my stuff across. I did use a pure swim here. I didn't use the guideline really for very much of it, and I just swam it as normal. Also have a field toolkit in the backside here. Up top, I had a boo-boo kit, along with some miscellaneous IFAK stuff, shears, and then protein and some, more protein in the form of peanuts, and then candy. It's always nice to have a little sugar bump in the middle of these courses. In the main compartment here, I did have an extra pair of swim shoes. I ended up not using these. It was just kind of a waste. There's no point. I did carry about 3 liters-ish of water. It was kind of a warm day, so I brought a little extra water, not knowing how long the course would be. Also brought a dry bag. This is for my sensitive electronics, which you'll see me on like stage 1. I just kind of clipped it to my pack and threw it over. Extra pair of socks. I did not change socks. If this course had been a little longer, I definitely would have changed socks. And then a pretty cool little setup here for a bandolier. It's basically just a MOLLE panel, rigid panel with a bandolier attached to it. Alright, headed to stage 1. It's only about half a mile from the start line, but it was very challenging, very slow going in this kind of environment. Competitors were pretty much immediately pushed off into a water crossing. First water crossing here was pretty deep in the middle, maybe about 5.5 feet deep. Definitely took me a bit by surprise. Exiting the water here and around the bend, very short jog, but definitely pretty rugged, not on a trail of any kind here. I got pushed off back into another water crossing. Now this water crossing was not as deep, but it was a little more challenging, to be honest, because there was a lot of logs and obstacles you had to kind of make your way through. And then the rest of the course kind of followed along this runoff creek here. You are headed slightly uphill. This is a spring runoff, I think. The water at least was nice and fresh, nothing really stagnant. But it did kind of either follow along the banks here with high grass, which is about the time I started to realize I had made maybe a poor choice in wearing shorts. Of course, here you can see, if you look around a little bit, I am following a predetermined path. I'm not just blazing my own trail here. There are pink caution tape tied off in the trees, sometimes tied off in bushes. You can see one there. And that's kind of the path that you have to follow. You can't deviate from the path. Occasionally, I was following where it looked like competitors had kind of beat their own path around a little bit of a water crossing, but most of it was in this runoff here. As you see it, it's kind of rocky. A lot of it did have water, some of it was dry, but a lot of it was mostly water. I did take a time to stop a little bit and roll up my dry bag, clip it to my backpack, and kind of head on. There were a couple other deeper crossings too that kind of looked like they maybe had a way around them, but ultimately just kind of treaded through here. Some of these crossings did have some pretty big rocks in there to grab your ankle and twist it around. Hear the distant gunfire can tell you're getting a little closer to stage 1 here. definitely was regretting shorts at this point. A lot of opportunity here for snakes. Thankfully though, there was a lot of competitors that went before me, so they should hopefully have beat the bush down sufficiently that all the critters had left the area. Happy to report I did not see any snakes. And finally made it to stage 1. Stage 1 course of fire here was fairly straightforward. It started off with a bit of pistol, and then it eventually pushed you back into the water for some more pistol, and then it finished up with rifle targets. Trying my best here to not slip and fall. Definitely don't want to fall in the rocks.
Down this way. Down about where those trees are hanging.
Again, trying not to fall. Definitely don't want to take a plunge into this water. The water is very murky from all the competitors, so you can't really see what you're stepping on The exit for stage 1 to head to stage 2 pushed you back into the water. This is the final water crossing till the very end with the swim. Short jog from stage 1 to stage 2. Stage 2 course of fire was 3 positions, with the first position being rifle. Targets were fairly close, but they were placed behind some vegetation and kind of down low, that challenging and tiny.
Moving?
Yep. Position 2 were reactive pistol targets that flop down when you hit them, and then the last position was a pretty long sprint with a single rifle target at the end.
Up the hill. 3 hits.
Note to self on long shots like this, definitely just go straight to prone if you can. I went kneeling at first, just thinking that I wasn't able to get a shot through the grass, but prone is the way. Another relatively short jog to stage 3 down the fence line. Stage 3 course of fire, this was entirely a pistol stage, and you had to carry some rather heavy ammo boxes with you from each position. You did have some long shots here. Position 2, you ended up at a VTAC with some fairly awkward shooting positions as well for long shots at small targets, kind of a classic OED pistol stage.
Yeah, one more.
Final target here is a star. During the RO's brief on this stage, I just assumed a Texas spinning star. However, it's not. It was a very custom target over there with the OED logo.
Dude, I was thinking about a Texas spinning star.
Yeah, no, it's that.
Oh.
On to stage 4, and a bit of a treacherous movement here. This backside hill here was very sloped and very slippery. This is the hill that ended up claiming me as a victim for slipping. Now the grade here, according to my Garmin, was at times about a 40% grade, but upside, you got a pretty fantastic view down this valley into the granite hills of Texas. A little bit of bouldering to go with it. And then on to stage 4. Stage 4 course of fire was a mix of carbine and pistol. Had some carbine targets, almost 180-degree field of fire, and then you moved over into a riverbed with some pistol targets, run back to position 1, and do it again.
Hit, hit. Hit. Hit.
I did make that last shot there with the carbine with my top dot. It does have its uses at times.
This too?
Three targets, 2 hits each. Hit. 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 Hit.
Onto the final stage and back up a hill. This hill was also pretty steep, pretty slippery. Definitely got the legs warm for stage 5. Stage 5 course of fire was mostly carbine. There were 2 pistol targets, but the carbine targets themselves were across this valley here, not that far away, within 200 yards, but the targets were fairly small, so it made it a somewhat precise shot, especially for those that have hold unders.
One more target. To the right.
To the right?
Left of that.
Safe.
Rifle first. Left of that.
One 0869. Clear both.
And then a super long leg back to the finish line. Right before you get to the finish line, there was about a 40-ish yard swim across the deepest part of the pond. Now this is the part where I did take my stuff off, threw it into a garbage bag, and I kind of tried to swim it mostly. I did use the guideline a little bit to start off with, and then felt comfortable enough to go ahead and swim it, even though I had boots on, still had my rifle in my back. It worked out pretty well, not too bad. Final thoughts here. This was really a fantastic event. You know, if you're thinking about doing these events but you don't want to just jump straight into the Saturday main events, jump into the Sunday event. The Sunday event really is Sunday fun day, but overall the Sunday events are really a great way to jump in if you're kind of nervous about starting out. Now really the best way to do this is to shoot the full weekend. Shoot the Saturday, shoot the Sunday. The Sunday events are typically, they recycle the stages from Saturday. Sometimes they bring the targets in, sometimes they don't, but it gives you a chance to kind of reshoot some of those stages after you've had the night to think about them, which is a ton of fun to do that if you shoot the Saturday event. Now, that being said, that means though too that you're probably not going to be super competitive if you just run the Sunday event, because the top shooters really are all going to be people who had already shot those stages the day prior. That's just kind of the way it works out. You know, don't worry about that too much. It's really, these events are not about how well did you do competitively. It's really about how well did you feel you did yourself. You know, did you survive? Did you feel like your cardio was just complete trash? How did you feel like your marksmanship held up, you know, under fatigue, under stress of having to traverse a course like this? And then of course, with a course like this too, how did your equipment hold up? You know, the water definitely likes to claim a lot of people's optics, definitely fudges up and fouls up your gun. So if your equipment just couldn't hold up, or you couldn't hold up, that is the key takeaways here for events like these. Is really, truly, the OED motto stands up to this, right? Test yourself, test elements, test your gear. So with that all being said, you know, definitely get out there, get your friends out there, go run these courses together. It's a lot of fun. That's the way to do it. If you're interested in an event like this, definitely check the link in the description. These guys are always hosting events. They host really great events all across Texas and potentially across other states too, coming in maybe 2025. So don't forget to like and subscribe, drop a comment, you know, do all those things, kind of stoke the algorithm, let people know that events like these actually do exist and you do not have to be constrained to the simple mechanics of a flat bait. You can actually get out there and shoot in a more realistic environment. As always, get out there and run, lift, and shoot.